record. Okay. Yeah, so fingers crossed we never have to think about projections, but after I gave this course in February, and so Jenna and Charlie, who are here today, it was amazing. They went off and they started using this the next day, and they came to me with the problem that their data wasn't existing on the map as to where they were expecting. And so I've just got a couple of examples to show you of where it could go wrong, so that it will help you if this happens, you know roughly some things you can try. Again, people who know more about this, please do chip in. So I've got a couple of examples. Right, so here I've got two layers read in. One, which is the world map that we've been using, and double clicking on that and looking under source, we can see it's using this EPSG 4326. And then clicking on this other shapefile that is just of the United States, we can see that this one has been set a different coordinate reference system. And what is great about QGIS is by default, it uses an on-the-fly reprojection. So if you've read in layers which have different coordinate systems, it's got an algorithm behind it that is reprojecting one onto the other. As I say, that is set by default. I've just clicked down here on the project properties, because there's a button here that if you click that, you're turning that off. So it's no longer reprojecting, it's just plotting them absolutely. So let's apply this and refresh my screen. And because I've had a little play about, I've worked out what's happened. If I drag and drop United States layer underneath the countries, I can see that it's sat here, because these are plotted using their absolute reference coordinate references rather than reprojecting it so they match up. And I'm scrolling out, I'm just zooming out. So the world one exists here. The reference system it's using makes it exist in the middle of America. Whereas if I now put the on the fly back on, refresh. Did I put, oh, apply, always important, click these applies. Come on. Oh, sorry, and then I have to click, there we go. So I have to click which one I want it to be. There we go, and yeah, it seems there. So that's just a demo of showing you that you can have your layers with different coordinate reference systems, and by default, it's going to, behind the scenes, lay one on top of the other correctly. In my other demo, open. Again, we've got the world map that we're used to seeing. And now I'm going to read in some point data for the Southwest. And if I scroll into there, or right-click, zoom to those points, it's existing in the sea. It's not where I'd hoped. So if I have a little look at the projection here, I'm seeing it's this 4326, and on this data, it's using OSGB, the Ordnance Survey. So it's using this as its reference system. And this is the grids with the 2 letters and some numbers. Whereas if I look now at this layer's attribute tables, have a look at what the data it's got in there, and we're using latitude and longitude, and that, and it's the WGS, I know, uses the latitude and longitude. So if I instead, on my layer, change it to using the WGS 84, because that's the latitude and longitude one. Others may do it. I'm not sure. I know this one does, and I apply it. That's the correct projection for that layer. So just when you're reading in your data and it puts it in a different place, I've listed some of the coordinate reference systems that I default to and try, and so I've listed them in the handout. So give one of those a go and see if one of those fits your data. Again, if someone wants to chip in and knows any more about this, that would be great. Right, I'm going to now go back to our session, so I can now
Kerry, can I chip in with something slightly different?
Please, Mike, do.
I mean, unless you mentioned it. Another thing I tend to get wrong is importing lat and long in the wrong order, in which case you find all of your data points are somewhere off the west coast of Africa.
That's a very good tip. Right, I'm just catching up and getting myself back to where we were before I left. Great. So what we're going to do next is this task is purely just to make you become feeling more familiar with your shape files. So what the next bit we're going to do is we're going to extract just the polygon for England, because we're not interested in having the rest of the world for our map, because it's just going to be very focused on the southwest. And then we're going to, once we've extracted that, we're then going to add some style to our polygon to make it look like landmass and the sea. So in order to extract selected features, you first of all need to select the features you want. And I think I've listed about four or five ways in the training document, so you can look at various ways of doing it. But the easiest for our purposes today, because we just want one, we can just select it with this select features tool here. So when that's highlighted, we can right click on the world map layer, export, save selected features as. So that was right, let me get away. So that's right clicking, export, save selected features as, and it will bring up this window. So the other ways I've done of selecting features in the document, they're there for when you're wanting to do more complicated selections. So if it's on multiple criteria rather than just selecting just one polygon. So now we're exporting it. So we want it to be in the format of a shape file. Choose where we want to put it. So give it a name. I've already got one here. So yeah, UK. Leave the coordinate reference system as default, what it is. Leave this checked because we only want to save our selected features. And you can leave that one checked because it will automatically add it to the map. When we click OK, so that's because I've already got one there already, so I'm going to overwrite it. It's added it here as a separate file, separate layer, so I can turn it off. So on the world map, I can now deselect anything selected. And so my UK one now exists on its own. And so we can see if we hold and drag and drop it down, we're changing the order of the shape files. So for the rest of this, we're not interested now in the world map, so we can remove that and just work with the UK. Oh, people who are using, sorry, I don't have the printout. I'll just pause here and let you glance your eyes over the PDF from chapter 6 and chapter 7, just so you can familiarize yourself with what we've covered and how it looks. Okay, so next we're going to play with this layer styling panel over here, which is how we control how these polygons are styled. And so we can either have that panel up by, well, as Richard nicely said, right-clicking here and do our layer styling here, or if we didn't have it selected, there's a shortcut to it over in our layers panel, open layer styling. So when you click on your whichever layer you have here, it will populate this here, or you could just select it directly here. And we're going to keep this as single symbol, meaning that for every polygon on our map is going to have the same appearance. For our case, we've only got one polygon, but and in the moving forward, we're also going to have a look at these other options. But for this one, single symbol. So I'm going to click through the options to show you how to make this nicely look like landmass and sea. And these are, as best as I can, include it in the handout on page 20 and 21. So the way this works is when you click on these interactive things in here, so on the fill, it brings up options for you to use down here. So you can either just click in here and change its color. So that was clicking on this color down here. And there's different ways you can change color. So this is a nice one. You have this wheel as you go around, and then you've got the different darknesses, shades of the color the wheel's pointing. You can tweak these values here, or you've got your recent colors, or you've got this other, I mean, they've given you lots of different ways of choosing your colors. So for now, we're just wanting something green. And then when you're happy with the color of your of the country, or I could say, sorry, there's also, rather than just selecting colors from here, you've got the options down here in this panel in order to give it some other predefined options. And down here, you've got some very useful toggles for moving forward and backwards through the options you've tried if you want to go back to ones. Then in order to style the negative space, in order to get the C, you need to click on Simple Fill in order to access the stroke color and the colors that go outside. And so again, this is exactly the same as what we changed in this bit. So it's another way of accessing the same bit. So we want to change the stroke color to be the same as the color of the land. So by clicking on this point down here and choosing pick color, it gives you a nice pipette so that you can select the exact color. Other options, you could have just chosen recent color here, or even maybe a transparent stroke just to get rid of that dark black area. The next place to change, we need to open up our layer rendering just to get access to this draw effects bit. So what I did there, I opened layer rendering, I clicked on draw effects in order to get this star. When I click on this star, it gives us options to change this outer glow. This can get a bit tricky to use because when you've highlighted an option here, it will show you beneath the properties that you can change. And you click on and off in order to have it activated. So make sure you have it activated and we're highlighted over it. And then leave this alone because we're in outer glow. So when you start changing this, it will then jump and change some other things. But we can use this outer glow in order to, if we make this a nice blue for C, and we increase the spread, then we are getting a nice visual now that we can use as our base map to put our data on. So you can play with these options, change the blur radius. Yeah, so I'm going to stop this bit now, and you can go and repeat chapters 6 to 8. So that is, what did we cover? Change your projection, your project projection to be the UTM zone 30N, so the UK is looking more as we're used to. Then select just the UK, the shapefile, and extract it, export it into its own shapefile. And then start playing around with this layer styling panel. You can do anything you want. What I've shown you as some steps is just an example, just to get you started to see what options are available. Okay, so if we meet back at 3:20 for this, so and give your have a play around, and so we're meant to have a bit of a break then as well. So make sure you take some time to have a stretch your legs as well. So meet back at 3:20.